Hey there, welcome to the new moon reading for Sagittarius, which is going to be occurring on December 4th, and that can vary depending on where you're at in the world, but the main energy is going to be happening in the United States on December 4th. I love this Moonology Oracle card deck, and here is the beautiful representation for the energy, and it says, luck is on your side, which is very Sagittarian. The energy around this new moon in Sagittarius is about this restart of fun after experiencing a period of lowness. So this is opening up this, period around this new moon for adventure. And that could mean travel, both in a physical world and a mental, emotional, spiritual. It's all about exploration. It's also about widening our viewpoints on things. So it's an invitation to really laugh. Why are you so serious? We're coming from this serious feeling, and this new moon is just saying, now it's time to let joy in, to raise your vibration to one of peace and love and joy and unconditional love, of course. A great thing that you can do during this time, and we're going to be looking at the energies like the week before and the 2 weeks after this new moon, but during that time you can actually kind of create this gratitude journal, literally count your blessings. Look around you, and maybe just do it for like 30 days or a week, however long you feel comfortable doing. We really look at something that you're grateful for and try to do it for as many days as you can without repeating anything during that. I did it once, and I was first intended to do it for 30 days. I ended up doing it for 5 months or so, and I didn't repeat anything, because it started off just, I'm grateful that I can breathe, and the next day I'm grateful that, I can walk with little pain, and then it just, each day there's just so much, it just expands, from that, but it changes your whole attitude about life from one of, focusing on what is missing in your life or what you don't want in your life, to want to focus in your energy on what you do want and what you're grateful for in your life, and it just invites more and more and more into your life. So I encourage that if you feel that resonates with you. But we're going to jump into your specific reading for this new moon period right now. All right, all my Libras, this is your new moon in Sagittarius reading. We're going to start off by pulling a card here from the Oracle of E. And we're going to just be looking for what the Creator wants you to know about this entire next 3-week period, which is going to be the week before this new moon and the 2 weeks after. So for our Libras, what would you like them to know about this 3-week period, please? Okay, it's like this one is really wanting to talk, so this is going to be the one. Yep, at your service. Card number 23. 23, of course, breaks down to a 5, 2 plus 3, and that is about some transformation, some change, so I love that. And it says, I hope it's comforting to know there is a big universal butler who's working behind the scenes, taking care of all the details, making sure every little thing is turning out exactly as planned. This butler is as loyal as Fido, yeah, as determined as Diana, never ever give up, Naiad, as trustworthy as your own beating heart. So can you let him carry the tray? So definitely the butler behind the scenes, having everything unfold as you have asked it to in your life. So I love the fated event, the fated circumstances unfolding in your life, that there is all this, I wouldn't even say butler, but I have this picture, I don't know why, of Beauty and the Beast and all of those cast of characters that were there to serve, and you have all that behind the scenes, Be Our Guest, Be Our Guest. That song's playing in our head now. And so they, that whole posse of support on the other side, creator, spirit, but also your guardian angels and angels, your spirit guides, your loved ones who are already on the other side, ancestors, unicorns, fairies, whatever you believe are those beings of unconditional love and light. They are on the other side, and they are working on having these things unfold perfectly for you. Now, within each circumstance, you always have your free will and power of choice to choose what story you apply to the circumstance, as well as what emotion you're going to choose and all that. So they're serving it all up. It's like they're bringing you this tray, and you can be like, this is so delicious and I'm grateful, thank you. Or you can go like, this is gross, taste that, So you get to choose to what extreme you respond and what you choose around every circumstance in your life. So there's this beautiful awareness coming for you during this 3-week period that life is unfolding for you. It's not happening to you. We're also going to pull some cards here from this True Heart Intuitive Tarot. And we're going to pull cards for the week before the new moon, the week after the new moon, and 2 weeks after the new moon. So for our Libras, what would you like them to know about the week before the new moon? Okay. Wow. Okay, so they want these for here. Yep, and they do want this for here and here. Okay. So I thought this was going to be like all of them, but they're like, nope, that's just the week before. That's the setup. And then the week after the new moon, please. I got a lot to tell you about the... Wow. Okay. Leading up to it all. So that's that, the week after, and then 2 weeks after, please. Wow, they are wanting to talk to you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Well, we got a lot to cover. So let's jump in here and we will see what we have all happening here. Yep. So you got the devil energy, which don't freak out about that. This is just your shadow. And you can see that like the nooses around their neck or the chains around their neck are not, super tight. Which is this whole thing about you can escape. And I always get this vision of the Austin Powers series with, Dr. Evil. It was a comedy around spies and stuff. And the Dr. Evil, who was the villain, would always tell Austin Powers, who was the international man of mystery, the spy, he would get captured and he's in, Dr. Evil's clutches. And he's like, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take over the world and this is what I'm going to do and blah, blah, blah. And the people that worked for Dr. Evil were always like, oh my God, why do you keep telling him? He's going to escape and ruin it. And that's kind of what our shadow does for us. What this devil card represents is the villain, the shadow side. So it brings us information about what is binding us, what is making us feel trapped, and it winks at us, right? So it tells us, this belief about blah, blah, blah is what's keeping you, feeling chained, wink, wink, telling us that you can easily slide that chain off from around your neck, and you can be freed from it. And so our shadow is actually our friend. Our shadow works for us. It's the one that takes us on the tour of the Fear amusement park, and it takes us on all the experiences. And so at this point in your life, because of this 23, about this change of awareness, this will bring you very clear and not so subtle information about what is keeping you feeling restricted. The example I give is like a few months ago, in a matter of 7 days, I had a friend of mine contact me to let me know that her husband passed away. Someone else contacted me and a family member of theirs passed away. My mom contacted me and her neighbor had passed away. Another friend of mine had one of her dear close friends try to end her life, her own life, and then another friend who had a mentor that died. So it was just like, wow. And that's the kind of how the messages come from our shadow. They are in your face. So it's either has been going on and you're suddenly going, aha, I see, you're trying to tell me something, or this week before you're getting all these same kind of circumstances that are coming like bluntly here. And so that is just letting you know that that's coming. Yeah, perfect. And then you have the World. The World card represents major ending of major cycles. So this is so perfect because what is being brought to you, you're like, oh, I see. And you're making that change. You're making that transformation and that change because you see that. Which makes sense. So that you got the Ace of Cups. Because the Ace of Cups, you can see it's being handed to you by Spirit, by the Creator. And the Ace of Cups is emotions. This is the chalice. This is the Holy Grail. And the living waters that are filling you up and overflowing here is the unconditional love of the Creator of all things that you get for connecting inside your heart to the Creator. And so you fill up from the inside out, and then you fill up with so much love, it starts to overflow out of you. So this is that beautiful transformation, knowing that you are loved, that everything is unfolding for you. You know, this butler, all this support team you have is doing all that stuff because they care about you. Just like in the Beauty and the Beast, the cartoon, right? The kind of the famous one, right? The more remake one. And all those servants were trying to get him to be able to fall in love so that he could be cured, so that he could come out of the fear and not feel like the monster that he saw himself as, right? Break the curse like this here. So I love that this is unfolding just like that. Yeah, and here you go. You've got the moon. The moon here represents that unseen knowledge connecting to the higher realms. The moon, you have the little eye in the sky here, which brings you the higher truths, what you're really thirsting for. This Ace of Cups, when you taste of that unconditional love, it really allows you to understand what it is you're truly hungry for, and what you're truly thirsting for is the unconditional love of the Creator and the other side. But this world is what takes us into this trap feeling from our shadow. So you have this kind of duality that happens with the moon here, with the two towers, with the two, the wolf and the dog. But you have this beautiful knowledge that comes from the moon energy, which is what we're talking about here, the new moon energy in this case. And it's bringing you this information and this awareness to help you transform in your life. Yeah. So got the 10 of Wands here. You can see there's a little person in there. But the Wands is your drive, your ambition, your aha inspiration, your spark, your motivation, and your spiritual energy. And with this being a 10, I really feel like, and here's this moon, I'm going to say this is the moon in the sky, because all this moon energy, it's helping you transform. You're ready for this ending and this new beginning. 10s are endings, 1s are new beginnings. And so I really feel like this awareness that comes from you is allowing you to transform that and to transform how you're seeing the world, and that you might be looking at some situations like, this happened to me, that person made me feel that way, and all this defining yourself by the external, and this is allowing you to see the love that you have inside, that the whole world is unfolding for your experience, for your like this movie that you're in, this improv movie, but you have this opportunity for this significant endings of significant cycles. So I love this ending and new beginning feel that's coming into a new moon, which is about endings and new beginnings, right? The full moon is the culmination, kind of the climax of the energy, and from that full moon all the way to the new moon, it's what you're letting go. And the new moon is about planting things new and new growth and new adventures, really. So let's see, the week after the new moon, what new adventures do you go on? Here you go. Got the Justice card. You have the Ace of Swords here. The Ace of Swords is what brings you capital T truths from the other side. It helps you realize that there's two of you that have this experience. You have your smaller self that is ruled, by these small T truths of fight or flight, and then you have the higher truths, which are based on those. And you can see here in this particular one, they've got the sun and the moon balancing here too, which allows you to see both sides of what's going on in your life, and you get to see things from a different perspective, and you really balance out the human experience with the spiritual higher self experience too. If you're too much living in this world of fear, you have just chaos in your life, and you want to leave it, right? You almost get suicidal. If you have too much spirit and not enough balancing with your human experience, then you almost become so heavenly minded, you're no earthly good. And then if you're so heavenly minded, again, why would you need to be here? Because you're living in the spiritual world. So this is a great message of coming to this beautiful balance, the ebb and flow in the balancing. That it takes time for things to balance out. It's not like it doesn't go and is perfectly balanced. It's this give and take, this ebb and flow of moving into your fear and into the world, and then coming back out of it and connecting to your higher self, and then with that knowledge going back and experiencing the world differently, and then coming back and having a little snack of spirituality and higher love. And then, it's this beautiful ebb and flow I feel for you that you get to start to experience. Yeah. Because you got judgment, which is XX, it's down here, XX, which is double endings and double new beginnings. But it shows you that here's your lower self and your higher self, and all these messages and this experience that you're having. So this reiterates what I was just talking about as well, about these awareness of your higher self, that you're more than just this human experience or this heavenly experience, but you're about this in between here. All those birds flying here are all the messages that come and all the experiences you gain from being a human. You came here on purpose for a purpose. It wasn't a punishment. You actually came here to experience your human side, to understand more fully your spiritual higher self. Because when you're in the other side with all this unconditional love, you don't even realize you're surrounded by unconditional love. In fact, we may not even knew that it existed, because when we were just in that realm, and when this realm was created for us for this experiment, when we came down here, we experienced conditional love and fear, and then we pointed back and went, oh, that's unconditional love. It's like air. You breathe air all the time, but you don't realize you're breathing air, and that air is all around you until you're 6 feet underwater. And then you're looking up at the surface going, oh, that's air up there. There's not air down here underwater that I can breathe, so I'm aware of it, and now I'm going to swim back toward it. And that's, that experience that we come here for. And then you've got the Nine of Wands. And so the Nine of Wands is about, this Ten of Wands is about your spiritual energy. The Nine of Wands is showing you that you have this, I'm getting two messages. Let me start with that the nine is about you finding the spiritual energy within you. It's not you're not finding it from outside of you, and you're not taking that energy on from outside of you. But it also is about not giving up, because you can see that you've got all these shadows of yourself, all these past shadows of all the supposed to be's and should be's and everything else, and you're having that awareness come in with all this too. So I kind of feel like that's about being persistent, is this don't give up. You're so close to letting go of so much energy influencing you from the outside world. And I love this experience that's happening, and that makes sense with this balancing that's happened here, is don't give up when it goes back, and it's going through that kind of that pendulum. You go from being fearful and all thing out here, and then you go back here for spiritual, and then you're like, oh no, I feel like I'm, in Christianity, when I was in that religion, it was like backsliding. Oh, you're becoming the devil again. It's like sinner, oh forgiven, oh sinner, oh forgiven, and don't let that kind of mentality influence it. Know that the balancing has happened on purpose, for a purpose, and you're learning so much through it all. When you judge yourself for being in fear, you just keep yourself in fear. But if you love yourself unconditionally and just, allow yourself to go, oh, okay, that's just part of it all. I don't need to judge myself for it. What can I learn from it instead? And then you got the 2 weeks after this new moon, and you got the star card, which is beautiful because here you are, your higher self. Here is the, this Ace of Cups. You're pouring it out both onto the land and both into the water, which means that this unconditional love and this awareness that you're having, you're allowing for it to flow into the land, which is your mind and your outside world, and you're allowing it to flow into the water, which is your emotions and your spiritual side. So this beautiful love is just starting to seep in to all the areas of your life. The star also represents hope, right? So you've got that. You've got the moon, you've got the world, you've got the star. Very positive cards for you. You got the 8 of Wands. Wands is spiritual energy. This is fast, and this is like movement within your world. So of course that makes sense with all this love pouring in. There's going to be some movement and some change that you're being inspired to do. But I also love that for me this represents messages, and because this is spiritual messages, I feel like you're going to be getting spiritual messages during this time, this second week as well, which makes again total sense as you're connecting to this higher love and this higher place, understanding your higher self. You're really starting to tune in, and it's about getting away though, getting quiet. Get away from the chaos. Even if you can get out into nature, even if it's your backyard, if it can be quiet where you can get into a corner of it where you won't get disturbed and just sit and watch nature, connect to that, and as you raise your vibration to one of unconditional love and joy and laughter and peace, that's the frequency at which spirit speaks, and so you'll be able to hear things pretty clearly. Oh, makes sense. Again, Ace of Wands. Aces, you have an ace here and an ace here. This is new beginnings, new higher level of energy, new spark, new inspiration, which makes sense about, this movement that will be going on here, because you are like inspired in a new direction, inspired to a higher direction in whatever you were doing. And again, this is a gift from the Creator, the hand that gives this beautiful Ace of Wands. And I'm not sure if I talked about that. The Ace of Cups has the Phoenix on here, which is about transforming of things, transforming of your emotions. And then here is the Phoenix all on fire here, bringing you this beautiful transformation, bringing you this beautiful transformation of energy. I was trying to think of another word, but they keep on saying it's transformation of energy. You're moving it, this 5, this 2 + 3 + 5, this change of attitude, this change of approach, this change of how you see the world happening to you. This whole process just kind of nudges you into this more positive aspect of your life. The 3 of Discs would be the 3 of Pentacles in other decks. For me, this message comes from here, and it's from another deck that I loved because it showed someone creating something, sharing something with the world. And this would be like the spark is that you suddenly have this understanding of how you want to share your unconditional love with the world. How do you want to put it out there? And the other card I was talking about, which shows someone that was working on this work of art. They were being their authentic self and expressing that to the world. And then there was someone behind them, and Spirit was telling me, well, that person is like those naysayers, those dream pokers that poke at your dream and go, well, you're not going to be able to do that. That's not going to bring you any money. That's not going to bring any success. Or why are you doing it that way? We all know that. Those individuals who are in fear, and they're probably trying to help you out of fear, but it doesn't come across as helpful. It comes across as, you're trying to burst my bubble. So those are obvious, and we're like, yeah, and we kind of keep them at a distance. But the other person in front of them is the one that a very higher message comes in an awareness for us, because that's the person that supports us, right? That's the person that says, I'm so proud of what you're doing, and you're living your authentic self, and you're doing this and doing that, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And that is amazing. Our ego loves that. Our heart loves that. We love to get that validation and that support, rather than, have them being a naysayer. And then they add on, hey, have you ever thought of maybe doing it this way? And that person can be even more influential in drawing us off our path of being our authentic self, because we're afraid to lose that support. We're afraid to lose that, validation, and we don't want them to join the naysayer group. And so they can draw us off. So this card is all about be your authentic self. Focus on that. Don't look at what the people that are supporting you are saying. Don't look at what the naysayers are saying. You can consider what they're saying, but don't let it veer you off course of being your authentic self and expressing this beautiful love in that way that you are being inspired to do so. Love it. All right, and then lastly, we're going to pull a card here from the Everyday Miracles deck, which these come from the Course in Miracles book, and they're just the wisdom that is gleaned from that book. I'm just going to see what the final message is for our Libras from the Creator. All right, what else would you like our Libras to know about this 3-week period, please? What's your final message for them for this reading? Okay, I feel like this is the one. Perfect. I thank my Father for his gifts to me. So, in the book, it's talking about Father being the creator. So you can think of the mother and father of all things. They're not a gender. They're an all-encompassing masculine divine energy, feminine divine energy as well. And I love this. The gifts that are brought to you are for you, and you can be grateful for that. So like when I was saying, the tray that's brought to you, you can be thankful for what is being brought, not, what is that? And then there's also a message on the back. I'll let you see that, and then I'll read it. And it says, each day 1,000 treasures come to me with every passing moment. I'm blessed with gifts throughout the day in value far beyond all things of which I can conceive. So I am loving that end here, because it just kind of brings everything together there. All right, well, I'm going to leave the reading here. Just know that in addition to these readings, I also do like monthly readings by each zodiac sign. I do these new moon and full moon readings, weekly readings by each of the elements like fire signs, water signs, and several other different types of readings throughout the month. So if you don't want to be left out of any of those and miss them, if you haven't done so already, just click the subscribe button down below, and that's going to make this notification bell pop up. And if you click on that, then you'll be able to select your notification settings. So I love that. It's easy breezy. And just know as you're going throughout this 3-week period that each and every second of every day you are unconditionally loved by the Creator of all things. And of course, I love you too. So have an amazing 3-week period around this new moon. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you very soon. But until then, you take care.